What is going on, everybody? This is Aaron from 49ers First Takes, soon to be 49ers Unfiltered. I'm here with Mike from SF Gold Rush. And for the next maybe hour or so, we're going to talk a little 49ers offseason, um, some talk about front office shakeup, and some players that might not be coming back. And then we'll touch on some other topics too. But Mike, man, first weekend without football this past weekend. I didn't have this as a topic, but like watching the Seahawks in the Super Bowl win in our stadium, I know that left a sour taste in your mouth. It did to me too. I watched the first half and then watched part of the 49ers documentary, Rise of the 49ers, and then I came back at the end of the game. Didn't miss much. How are you feeling with season now being over and looking to the off season?
I am ecstatic the season is over, Aaron. I got to say, that is kind of weird that you picked the Super Bowl, mid Super Bowl to watch Rise of the 49ers. I honestly wanted nothing to do with the 49ers on Super Bowl day. I just wanted to get through my bets and hopefully my parlays hit. Missed on some, made some on the others, and Kenneth Walker anytime TD, man. That ticky-tack flag cost me quite a few bucks. But anyway, I'm glad the season's over. Now we can move on to the off-season, quote-unquote, right? There's never an off-season in the NFL. But let's move on from this past year and have our sights on the next Super Bowl.
Yeah, you got to flush it.
Yep.
Just like you flush something nasty down the toilet. You got
Yeah.
to flush this season on the toilet. It's over with. You know, the Seahawks won. There's nothing you can do about it. Um, Either way, whoever won the Super Bowl, it didn't really affect anything. I mean, it affected 49er fans maybe psychologically because of, them being in our stadium and doing it, but it's whatever, who cares? Like, it's there. It happened. We had been out of the playoffs for, 3 weeks at that point. So I'm already kind of mentally checked out of this past season. So I was just
Yeah.
watching the Super Bowl as something to have a reason to eat food, pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I'm thinking like, okay, it's the Super Bowl ends literally in 2 weeks, the combine, and then literally in under a month, free agency. So, like you said, the NFL season never ever stops. There's only a short time, I think, between before the start of mini camps.
Yeah, it's like after the draft into minicamp.
Yeah, and then you have the pause between mini camp and free agency, or excuse me, training camp, which is about a month.
Mm-hmm.
So, for a content creator, like especially the most popular ones, I mean, they're going to get views regardless. But like that, a lot of people, especially this offseason, a lot of people are clamoring for what the Niners are going to do this offseason.
Yeah.
I am. I know you are.
Yep. So am I. Yep.
How important this offseason is, like especially with the draft, and how important this draft is that the Niners have to nail it. They've had some pretty bad success the last 4 years. They've had some pretty awful drafts. Last year's draft still to be determined. Don't think they got necessarily any superstars out of it, but sometimes it takes a while. Who knows? Maybe this.
I don't know. Initial reports, Aaron. I was looking at. I'm sure you're familiar with SF Data 49ers on X. He always puts out really, really good information. And he went through the PFF grades. I know PFF, you got to take one with a grain of salt, but he went through the PFF grades of the first 3 draft picks the 49ers made this past season. And all 3 of them were like top 5 worst picks via
Really?
PFF. Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, I get it. Like it's not they're still very raw, but track record shows, right, from the Niners drafting history that this might be another bad one. This last one had to be an A+. And for them to pick bottom 5 in each round for PFF grades and all 3 dudes, it's not good, man. It's just not good.
It's weird. PFF, we like it when it's in our favor, and then we're like, oh, I don't want to look at it when it's something we disagree with. To me, at PFF, it's kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, it's hit or miss. But I mean, the tape kind of shows I mean, I didn't really see anything jump off to me that these
Really
guys are going to
stood
be
out.
dominant, right? Like very average, very average. I don't know, but these
sometimes
guys graded below average.
I think sometimes some people, because of the amount of talent that wasn't around them, that it just, I don't know. There was so much fluidity to the defensive line, and so many, missing pieces that I would love to see these guys with a stacked deck to see if they perform better. I'm not ready to give up. I think Upton Stout was a great pick. I really do. Mikel, we don't really know because he got hurt. I know me and you both wish they would have drafted a pass rusher at that spot, like a legit number one pass rusher, and we're pissed off that they essentially drafted a guy specific for their needs, which, with the 49ers, it's like we draft according to our the way our scheme or the way it's like, no, dude, just draft the best player available. I don't care. Like if he fits. Like my nephew, I told you this before. My nephew's like, I'm sick of hearing people say, well, he doesn't fit our coaching scheme. He's like, if you're a good coach, make him fit your scheme. Like, figure out a way. So,
and if they do fit your scheme, why are they grading out so low?
Exactly. 49ers throwbacks, he says he's been done with John Lynch. He's not a good GM. Yeah, we're going to get to that because there's been some reports. We might as well get into it now. There's reports. I heard Larry talking about it. I heard Damon Bruce talking about it. It's unconfirmed. Okay, so I'm repeating that, but there is a report somewhere that there could be a shakeup in the Niners front office. Like essentially, they could be adding somebody to the front office coming into free agency in the draft. Now, whether that happens or not, Mike, if it was something that could happen, how excited and maybe a little bit more optimistic would you be about the draft, knowing that another set of eyes, a non-49er pair of eyes, someone who has no loyalty one way or the other, comes into the draft room and says, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you with your draft.
I mean, obviously it would bring excitement just because it's really hard to do any worse than what they've done these past previous years, right? Like they have missed on so many high value draft picks. It's unsustainable. And yes, bringing in somebody new would be great, but how much power are they really going to have? And does Kyle still, hold the ultimatum, right? Like yes or no? And honestly, I really don't want Kyle picking guys anymore. And who knows if it's Kyle? Is it John? Maybe John's in charge of defense. Kyle's in charge of offense. But either way, they both suck at drafting players. They need somebody. I want them to go get somebody from Seattle, from the Rams, from Philly, from KC. Go find a talent guy from there and let them have say, because those guys have proven that they can find talent and they're good at it. But I just don't know how much power, if this does happen, is it just optics? Is it just,
hey, look,
just
guys,
say that they change something? You know what I mean?
Well, look at the Dolphins. They brought in Troy Aikman during their GM search and their coach search. And, say what you want about the Packers. Maybe they haven't done it in a while. They're a pretty functional organization.
Yeah.
And they have been for some time. They draft pretty well, and they have a good amount of talent. I know, maybe they haven't gotten to the promised land, so to speak, or whatever, but they've been a pretty functional organization. And now Miami has a new GM and a new coach, all from the same, place. And I, from what the reports were, Troy Aikman helped facilitate that. I don't know if he's still there helping them in the offseason, with the draft and everything, but I was telling my mother, which is funny, talking about my mom. I was like, because we were watching that Niners documentary, and I was like, man, Brady's a 49ers fan still. He's still a 49ers fan. It's so obvious, Mike.
Big
and I'm I told my brother, I was like, that's who the Niners should bring in.
Yeah.
Not to be a GM, but I would have someone like Brady come in, or I know he doesn't have really front office experience. He loves the team, and it would be kind of like with Troy, but with the GOAT instead. So I don't know. I would
But
love to go
Brady
ahead.
did bring in Chip Kelly, so maybe he's not the best.
Would you say Brady brought in Chip Kelly?
Yeah, to the Raiders.
Oh, that's right. And he's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, that was a like even casual football fan would have been like, that's a really bad idea. So
49ers throwback is usually extremely positive. Says Kyle's got to stop being delayed with upgrading coaching staff or John Lynch advocate for Kyle. If you care about this team, he would appreciate your support. Man, he did. They're so like this year's was so disastrous, and the way things ended, and it showed how slow we were. And it, I always say, like, sometimes it takes just getting your doors blown off. Like the Dolphins needed to have a season like they did, where changes needed to be made. And the fact that they were going to stay with their coach and then decided against it, that's what you want. And the 49ers had such a horrible end of the season. They were unhealthy, blah, blah, blah. We already know. But like everybody's watching them now and being like, they need to kill this draft and they need to make smart free agent moves. You know, a lot of people are saying one of the names that's floating around out there, but I don't know if I trust John Lynch or Kyle to be able to afford him or be willing to make the the financial commitment, is that receiver Alec Pierce from the Colts. Like a lot of people are saying he'd be a good fit. He'd be a good fit. He's exactly what the 49ers win. He's got size, he's got speed. He makes, he averages 20 yards of reception. He's still got 1,000 yards, even though he was targeted 80 times and only had like 40 some odd receptions. So like you see all this stuff and it excites you, but in the back of your mind, you're like, because remember when during the season you were like, oh, they're going to have money this offseason and they're going to make moves. And you were like, how do we know that? How do we know they're going to make moves? You were like, I have no inclination that makes me think or believe that just because they have money.
It was like a rumor that somebody made up and it's spreading, but we didn't hear that from Kyle or John that like, oh yeah, hey guys, we're going to suck it up this year, but the following year we're going on. Like, we didn't hear that. We didn't hear any of that. People just assume that. And we have no idea if that's the truth or not.
They did say that they would be a little bit more active in free agency.
Well,
now, how much is the question. What's up, Dre? How you doing, man?
What up, Dre?
Sports, part of the Cover 3 podcast on Fridays. Yeah, like the problem I have is like, and I've been actually pretty positive about things. Like, I don't like when an owner or a coach or a GM is dismissive. Like you hear like Jed York talking about the substation. Yeah. He's so snide about it. Like he's just so arrogant. And it's just like, oh, we know more than you. We know more than you. It's like when you're at a point where your team is making national news because of a perceived thing, even if it's not real. And I know a lot of people are like, ha, 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 see, there's no proof. That the point is everybody knows you have an S ton of injuries every year. And like, it's a huge problem. And it's not something you should be like, nah, about. Just like, missing on draft picks continually. Like, I like you said, I wish the media would press these guys sometimes and be like, hey, you've had a pretty unsuccessful last couple of drafts. You haven't really hit. I mean, they would word it differently and maybe be like, the last 4 drafts haven't really worked out as far as finding new superstars or something.
Anybody.
Right? But nobody has that testicular fortitude. And of course, the guys that do speak up are Goombas like Grant. You know what I mean? Like where you're like, oh, I hate that guy. But maybe he would have the balls to say something. But like coming from him, they wouldn't respect it. You know? Nobody puts these guys' feet to the fire and is like, hey, okay, substation isn't a problem, but you've been top 10 in injuries for like from here to eternity, right?
Why haven't their training staff been fired yet?
Like somebody asked that question. Yeah, exactly.
Like it's crazy to me that they can be so dismissive and so arrogant, like you said, right? Like, hey, you miss on draft picks. Oh, well, no, that's not entirely true. Yes, it is, bro. It's 100% true. You have 18 misses in the first 3 rounds. Like, that's insane. First round, you've missed on every single player besides Nick Bosa, and he drafted himself. A blind monkey would have picked that out. So
it was the most no-brainer draft pick of all time.
Yeah. So technically, you are 100% miss in the first round. So your training staff is still employed for some weird reason. You haven't even done turnover there yet. What is going on? You're the laughing stock of the national media when it comes to injuries, and we have seen no movement whatsoever about changing things up, about trying something different, about even acknowledging it, like saying, like, you know what, we're going to do everything we can. If we got to get a new staff, we'll get a new staff. If we got to get new equipment, we'll get new equipment. I don't know. You got to change the food. I don't know. Do something. Just do something.
The point, the thing that really gets me is how much grief I got. I complain about it all the time, and they're like, "Oh, you focus so much on injuries," and I'm like, "Yeah, because they're always a problem." Like,
Yeah.
I'm so sick to death of, like, if we were just healthy. It's every year. Nobody wants to hear that anymore.
Yeah.
Figure it out. And everyone's like, well, the injuries were up this year. And yeah, okay, it's like an outlier, whatever. Where the injuries are up every year with us.
Yeah,
So,
but who did they? I think they asked CMC or Kittle or one of the guys on Radio Row. They were like, it's when you guys are healthy, you guys are in the Super Bowl. And when you're not, you're not. And it's like, how is that not the number one issue right now? Figuring out,
ding, ding. Yeah,
it's like, duh.
A lot of people that fought me this year for being negative. Nobody's saying that anymore. Everyone's like, yeah, the injuries are a total problem. Like, across the board. There's only one person, I think, but I haven't blocked, who would probably argue that the NFL is just people get injured. Like, that's always his argument. Like, everybody's injured all the time. It's physical sport. Like, really?
Not here.
Not here.
Not here.
And you know what's funny about 49er fans too, that it makes me angry because I'm a Niners fan, is when we don't achieve what we say, or what our goal is, and they'll be like, well, if it wasn't for injuries. But then at the same time, on the flip side, they'll be like, well, injuries aren't, everybody's got them, blah 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 blah. But the minute the Niners don't achieve, they're like, yeah, well, if we were healthy. So it is a problem. You admit it.
It's a major problem. It is the problem, right?
It is. The game show from back in the day. It's a $64,000 question, which I think, yeah. The injuries are a major problem. He also says, also a lack of spending this year and drafting. We don't draft any stars anymore. It seems the bar is, can they be competent on the field, right? Like, it's getting to a point now where it's like, can we just field these guys? Can they be fielded game day?
Yes.
That's sad.
Very sad.
Although, being said, one really good offseason of drafting and free agency can change a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The Niners are going to have a good amount of turnover this offseason. So, I mean, at least they're not staying the same. Again, here, one name, and I want to jump to that, is Jauan Jennings. Listening to Matt Mayoka, he's pretty connected with the 49ers. And it looks as if the Jauan Jennings era of the 49ers is coming to a close. Now, we both love Jauan Jennings, but you said this in November that if you had to bet on it, you don't think he's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's coming from a guy like Mayoka. Part of me is sad about it, but at the same time, you got to stop with the feeling of like being connected to these players when you haven't achieved something. So like, it's cool. You like them. They're dependable, but like, we still haven't achieved anything with these guys. We got the Super Bowl, we lost, whatever. So I'm all for them revamping this whole receiving core. Like this skill position player that has to be completely revamped. So how are you feeling about the possibility of Jauan Jennings? Are you okay with it? Have you already kind of moved on in your mind, or?
Yeah, it's bittersweet. I think I've kind of moved on with it, like you said, like months before the season even ended. I just kind of knew it wasn't gonna happen. He's not like, look, everyone loves JJ. He could have been the Super Bowl MVP if we would have pulled that off. He battles through injury. He's tough. He can block. one thing that helped me get over him moving on, honestly, was the games against Seattle, especially the very, very last game where he ran horrible routes. He didn't really try to get open. It just looked very lazy. If there was anyone that we needed to step up that game with George out on offense, it had to be JJ, and he didn't answer the phone that day. Obviously, he's answered the call on huge games before, but maybe him knowing that was his last game, I don't know, he just wasn't in it. But if he can't produce against Seattle, then he is worthless to us, honestly. Because we need someone to be able to beat their DBs, and he absolutely cannot. They messed with him all game. They tied him up. So, like you said, Aaron, we have to revamp this wide receiver core. They're the slowest in the NFL, probably one of the oldest, and least productive. They were running routes, running into each other. They're not on the same page. Obviously, half these guys were coming off the couch, but it's just like, yeah, it's time to move on. I love JJ, but I think the ship has sailed.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on from him too. Like CJ Gray says, he can get paid somewhere else. God bless him. If this guy wants $20 million a year, and you have a chance, because it looks like they're, from what Matt Mayoka said, they are not going to franchise Alec Pierce from the Colts. I would put a full court press on to sign that guy. If you're going to make one big signing and then make some other kind of like depth signings where it's like they're less sexy, but they're good depth pieces. If Alec Pierce is your number one move, that tells me that you are committing to change. Because now, then I hate to say this, but not that I hate to say this, but then if a guy like Pearsall can get healthy, all of a sudden you got him. Pierce is a number one. He plays on the outside. So like it would push Pearsall down the depth chart. Maybe Pearsall's better slot player than he is as an X receiver. Who knows? But like if they make that move and they show that they're actually serious about it, that would be interesting, because he's not only is he now he like when a guy averages 20 yards a catch, like 21 yards a reception, that's pretty impressive. And a lot of
that was like Ayuk. That was like Ayuk in 23, right?
Yeah,
Ayuk was up there.
And he like I said, he averaged he had 1,000 yards this year. He was targeted like 80 something times, but only had 40 some odd receptions, right?
Yeah.
Bad quarterback play. Well, Brock's pretty damn good.
Yep.
You bring him in here with him, and all of a sudden you might have something. And he doesn't seem to be a guy that has a ton of injury problems either. So there's that too.
Yeah.
Bringing back Jauan Jennings to me means status quo.
No, it's a waste of money. You cannot pay Jauan Jennings $20 million. Okay, that's negligent. You need to spend that money. Honestly, I'm going to push back on you a little bit with Alex or Alec. If I'm going to drop $20 million on a player, honestly, I think it has to go in the trenches, Aaron. I mean, everything has shown about this team that they were weak in the most important areas that you have to be, right? Offensive line, defensive line. We were getting pushed around in the run game. We're getting pushed around on the D line. That is where you create foundation for a team. We have to protect Brock. We have to be able to give him time to let these wide receivers get open. You can have Jerry Rice out there. If Brock doesn't have time to get him the ball, it doesn't matter, because Seattle's going to come and swarm his ass and knock him on his butt. And we need to have protection there. And it's just, for me, my big splash in free agency is going to be the unsexy one, right? Like a new guard or a new center or, something like that. That will get me like hyped up and be like, hey, they're really starting to change their mindset about this team.
I mean, they could make two moves in free agency that are big.
Yeah.
They could make a skill position and an offensive lineman move.
Yeah.
They could get a left guard in free agency and a receiver, and those be those two big pieces. Would you be okay if they like made 2 big splashes, like maybe a wide
They have
receiver
to.
and a guard, and then they started like with the maybe their other moves, they make less sexy moves. Maybe they get another interior pass rusher that's lesser
Yeah,
known or something. You know, like
of
start
course.
building that D lineup, right?
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like I think they have to make at least 2 pretty significant moves on this team. I mean, they're so depleted in so many areas that like I think you have to get some type of firepower on the offense, especially with George Kittle. I mean, not being there, we don't know when he's coming back, right?
Right.
So you have no wide receivers, no tight end, McCaffrey, who's going to be doing it by himself with an offensive line who can't block. Yeah, you need some offensive firepower for sure.
Yeah,
You
they
need to
need to
be able to
be
block and throw the ball to somebody.
they need to be faster. They're slow.
Yeah. Yep.
I love McCaffrey to death, but he's not a speed burner.
And he can't do it all by himself. He
A
can't.
lot of a lot of people were talking about him not being able to hit the holes as much, but the holes weren't there this year.
They weren't there. There's nowhere for him to run. Nowhere for him to run.
If they're true to their word, that means they're going to make significant changes where it counts. And one of those places is going to be skill positions. They have to make at least 2 positions. I would love to see either like a wide receiver and maybe a lesser known tight end. I know the Baltimore tight end. I know they have a gluttony of tight ends in Baltimore. Like
Mm-hmm.
part of me, like I've been thinking a lot about free agency too, and it's like, um, how are they going to go about it? Are they going to focus free agency, defense, draft offense? I think they don't draft offense well because they end up sitting everybody anyways, unless they're a first rounder. So it only makes sense to draft defense and get a bunch of young studs. That's why
Yeah.
it's so important that they nail the draft this year. Because if they do, that window opens right back up. Because when you have young, cheap defenders that you don't have to pay, you can pay money to bring in free agency. Like, hey, let's bring in. I'm just using this as an example, people. I'm not being serious. You can bring in someone like Tyreek Hill on a 1-year deal. Now all of a sudden you have 2 players, maybe 3 players that can take the top off your defense. That opens up everything. Now a guy like Kittle, when healthy, has the whole middle of the field open. Now a guy like McCaffrey, like it changes everything. I don't think they would make a move on Tyreek Hill. I asked my brothers, like, and you're like, nah, don't do it. And everyone's like, nah, don't do it. But like, I don't know. That would be an interesting move. Like if they did something like that, like, oh, you think we're not taking you serious, but don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's too much money. They have way too many holes. They have to allocate that money very, very smart because they need tight end, they need offensive line, they need at least 2 wide receivers, they need linebackers, they need defensive line, they need everything, safety. I mean, so you blow it all on Tyreek Hill, and I don't think that helps anybody.
Right?
Honestly.
No, I know it. Well, and
he won't even get down the field. He can't even get down the field because Purdy's going to get murdered by then.
Right. They don't have enough time. So hey, Peter Parker's like wide receiver, center, and left guard. God, please.
Yeah.
It would be the most unsexy free agents that
we've
ever signed.
For me, that's putting lingerie on a pig right there, Aaron. I'm all about it, baby.
If we could get a center, if we can upgrade center and left guard through free agency in the draft this year, that would change a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because now all of a sudden it's like, oh, now we're actually taking offensive line serious for a change.
Yeah. Oh, you can run on 4th and short? No way.
Your quarterback's not going to get blown up on every play because nobody's there to block for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Maybe Cowing and or Watkins are fast, but they're not 50, so Shanahan won't play them. My eyes are playing tricks on me.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
Because they're not like super old like the rest of our skill position players.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Like we have Watkins here and we have Cowing here.
I think Cowing is a bust. I don't see any magic from that kid, and if he couldn't get on the field all year long when we desperately needed wide receivers, I don't know, dude. It's just that's not a good look.
They will really re-sign Barch and pencil him in at left guard. Of course they will. Of course they will. Of course they will. What is?
And then they can have a battle. Who misses more games, him or Pearsall?
Fire everybody is his name.
Yeah,
we're not quite there yet. Fire everybody, but I'll tell you what, they have another bad draft this year, and they biff free agency. John Lynch.
See you later. Yep.
I'm gutting that whole front office.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that. This is the year where nobody wants to hear excuses because you just got essentially bitched out. Your division rival won in your stadium, okay? And everybody thinks you're a joke when it comes to injuries. So like this has to be. And here's the thing with the question people have about Jed York all the time is like, does he care? And it's kind of like a 50-50. Like, yeah, he cares, but maybe he cares more about making money.
Shit, bro.
Like, this is so important. All these problems that we had this year and all these problems that have been ongoing, this has to be like the make it right year. Like the draft has to be great. Figure out something with the injuries. I don't know. Move your practice field or but Jared, all the rest of them like, oh, the substation was there when you played, blah, blah. Yeah, but it's about the optics. It's about the optics.
No, they didn't. It wasn't nearly as big as when Jerry played. Or what are they talking about? They had to upgrade it to fill the whole damn stadium right there. Like, yeah, it's ridiculous logic. I don't know if it has anything to do with it. I don't know because there was a bunch of players that made it through the whole season anyway. So whatever. It is what it is. What I'm more pissed off about is I think all Niner fans are pissed and they're clamoring for some type of success this season because of like what you said. Seattle won in your home, and they just seem kind of nonchalant about it. You know what I mean? Like Jed York is smiling on Radio Row.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we're so excited to have the Super Bowl here at Levi's in this shithole, one of the worst stadiums ever built. Yeah, come here. And, just that shit-eating grin on his face. And I'm just like, bro, you should be so pissed off that you don't want to do anything.
Taking a dig at him was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pencil him in on IR. Oh yeah, Barch, absolutely.
Yeah. And the funny thing is when they asked, I think they asked Jed about Alguido, promoting, and he's like, yeah, so there's bigger stuff for me to worry about or whatever. Like, what are you talking bigger stuff than the 49ers winning a Super Bowl? What are you talking about? Oh, so he can focus on the Niners because there's bigger stuff for me to, pay attention to. Like, what are you talking about, bro? That's the last thing you want to hear from your owner.
He takes it from his parents. His parents didn't care. Dr. York, Denise, they don't care.
Yeah.
I figured that's what you meant, what the comment. Yeah, it means Shanahan only plays veterans, 100%. Matthew says, most likely taking a receiver in round 1, trade that first round pick and next year 2 and go get Jefferson. That I can get down with. The Mac Jones trade for Jefferson, people, you need to get that out of your head. It's not happening.
Yeah.
It's a pipe dream. Could have drafted Justin Jefferson. Instead, we got Kinlaw. Jefferson is in his prime with he'd be perfect. He'd be perfect.
Could have drafted a lot of guys instead of Kinlaw. There was like literally anybody else besides Jauan Kinlaw.
We're all saying the same thing, and they need to what they need to do, and they do the complete opposite. I don't understand the logic. It's funny how the fans know more. And, when people always, especially like the bigger podcasters or radio people will be like, oh, the fans think they know more than the team does. We do. Because a lot of us are old like me and you, and like we're sick and tired of losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I mean, a lot of it's like common sense shit, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't have taken Jauan Kinlaw.
Oh, that's pretty. You never trade tit for tat in the draft. You don't lose a guy.
I wouldn't have traded Buckner. That was like 100%. Absolutely not. I'm not trading Buckner.
I would have let go of Armstead and use the money that we wasted on him to go and maybe, I don't know, get somebody else or draft somebody else.
Yeah,
They
that's
they
bananas.
just made a lot of that. This is a thing. The Niners got fat off of their early success with their early drafts of like Fred Warner's and this person and that person. And then they started missing and missing and missing and missing. And now they're at a point where the misses have caught up with them. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple of other like not as important. Well, we had the Keon White shooting the day after the Super Bowl. Nothing happens good when you stay out at like 4 a.m. in the morning.
Players keep getting hurt even in the offseason. No kidding, huh?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to. I mean, he's recovered. He had surgery. The Niners really have been pretty hush hush because it's kind of an ongoing legal thing. So,
Yeah.
hope he
Doesn't
recovers.
like he's cooperating either.
Not really keen on if he comes back or not. Could care less.
Yeah.
Sorry, Niner fans. One of the other things they talk about was the Kittle time frame recovery. 9. He said he's aiming to be ready for week 1. Being that we're the most injured team in the history of professional sports, are you more of like a lot of fans in that we need to find not a replacement for Kittle, maybe an eventual, like if we drafted somebody, but like somebody that we can use that we don't need to worry about Kittle if he's not ready till say like the bye week, say like mid-season. And then he's almost like a free agent acquisition because he comes in, say if you're having a good season, people are like, oh, you need to make a move the deadline. We did. Kittle came back healthy, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden we make a stretch run. I really think they need to make a move offensively and upgrade that tight end position. What about you?
I don't know how they didn't make that the draft pick last year, honestly. With those 2 stud tight ends in the draft. Like, when else are you going to find a George Kittle replacement that can almost come in immediately? That's why I was kind of upset with the Michael pick, because I'm like, I don't know if that wasn't the right pick there. There was other better players on the board, but now they put themselves in this position. You give this money to Farrell, which was, I have no idea how they came up with that idea.
It's so funny that they don't even talk about it.
Yeah, like your big offseason signing was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
And they were trying to sell us on it, like John Lynch always does.
Yeah,
like, well,
it's crazy.
Special teams. Like,
but like who signed off on him? Is it Brian Fury who just left, or like who was like, yeah, that's the guy?
Yeah, who pushed that across the desk? Yeah. Matthew says he'll be 40 in a few months. I would love to see a Super Bowl win before I'm 60. I was 10 the last time they won. Brother, I'm 46, okay? When they won last, I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
It's been 31 years. I want to have them win before I'm 50.
Yeah.
Okay? You're
See,
like,
but you got to remember it a little bit more than us younger guys. That's the only thing.
I saw them have success, and I saw them be competitive every year and doing what it took.
Or be able to appreciate
it's still been
a little bit more.
Time. I like when I complain to my brother about it. He's like, he's a Dolphins fan. He's like, I don't want to hear nothing. You guys have been in 2 Super Bowls, and the last however many years you've been in multiple conference championship games. You got a bunch of good players that you've had in and out of your organization. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I probably shouldn't complain, but just like he's never seen the Dolphins win a Super Bowl in his lifetime, I've seen one, but that was 31 years ago.
Yeah.
I weighed 100. I'm probably 135 pounds at 6 foot, skinny little zit face guy in high school who was bumping his chest out after he won. Like what? And like it was the one time where bullies didn't attack me because they were like, he's right. Especially he's right. Michael Williams pick should have been Walter Nolan. Yeah, I know. I'm not, like I said,
anybody.
Imagine what Kyle would do with 2 tight ends. I'm not trying to be negative on what you're saying, Peter Parker. I can envision what he would do. He would do nothing because he won't use 2 tight ends because he's a stubborn prick. I love him to death.
Keep him in the block because his offensive line can't.
Yeah, so. Kyle's a stubborn prick. I love him to death. He's a great coach. He's a stubborn prick. He's going to do things the Kyle way. Kyle does things Kyle's way. He could have a formula that is, hey, if you just do this, you bring these guys in, this will happen. It's not Kyle's idea. Kyle doesn't care.
Yeah.
And that's such a horrible way to do business, man. I think the Niners have a lot of yes men in their upper ranks. That's why when you bring in a GM and coach as a package deal, it becomes a problem. Because then no one will ever disagree with anybody. It's always like kumbaya. It's like, how can you be kumbaya when you've missed like a handful of drafts?
Yeah.
So, I need to get glasses, man. My vision is so bad. And over the course of the offseason, guys, I'm going to get glasses. So if I come on here looking like a the big
Who is this guy?
He looks more intelligent.
He's just imposter.
Yeah. What else here? Let's talk the Mac Jones trade. As much as I would love to keep him here and be the backup, if he can fetch any value, Mike, you have to move him. Or do you?
So
you can disagree with me.
Yeah. So my thing is just what's the value that we're getting? You know what I mean? Like, what is it, a second round pick? They can't draft in the second round, so I almost would want a player swap. It would have to be for a player, a proven asset. I don't want to draft
Jefferson.
No. But I'm just saying, it would have to be for a player because this team cannot draft, bro. They just can't. We're gonna trade Mac Jones for, some random Drake Jackson. Like,
pennies on the dollar. Yeah.
Yeah, he's so valuable to us. There's only been one season where we haven't had to use a backup quarterback. Is that correct? Or am I making that stat up? Or has there even been any season where we haven't?
Was Garoppolo healthy all of 2019?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just seems like, I mean, how much is it worth for us to continue the season and win with Mac Jones, or a second round pick for some guy that they're gonna bust on anyway?
Well, this draft, other than Mendoza, not a strong quarterback draft. At least that's what would have been told.
Yeah.
So the closer you get to not free agents, the closer you get to the draft, and you have an asset like Mac Jones to be a bridge quarterback, somebody might make a stupid move. Here's what I want. I want a player swap plus picks. So we'll give up Mac Jones and say a second rounder this year and maybe a first rounder next year for Justin Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
They'll never do it. They'll, like as somebody said, they'll block the number, but like if you're going to move him, you got to move him with picks. You can't just move him up, one for one. Just like you don't draft. I'll never get over the Niners drafting Kinlaw. You don't draft a replacement for a guy you have. A 1-for-1 draft never works.
No, it never works. It never works out.
You mean Kyle's quarterbacks always get hurt behind fourth round practice squad alignment? Dude, you are killing it, brother.
Yeah.
What else did he say?
It's fact.
I'm pinning this.
Yeah.
Especially when your GM isn't a real GM, he's a Walmart greeter. He totally is a Walmart greeter. He gives you stickers.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you have kids that are making a lot of noise, he'll give out suckers, anything, whatever it takes.
John Lynch to me, on the receipts.
John Lynch to me is like anybody who's worked for a corporate place, even if it's a grocery chain, a well-known grocery. I worked for a well-known grocery chain for years, and they have a very, very strong corporate presence.
Yeah.
Most people under corporate, like that are just normal workers, never connect because corporate people are fake. It's a lot of word salad, but nothing is really. They're not really saying anything when they're talking about the business and about other things. Same thing with John Lynch. When you listen to John Lynch talk, Mike, he's not saying anything.
Yeah.
He just talks circles because I don't know. He never wants to be wrong, or he never wants to look foolish, or he thinks we're stupid as fans. I don't know.
Yeah, when they end up doing the 30 for 30 about the 49ers almost winning multiple Super Bowls, hopefully they end up getting one and they don't make this doc. But if they do, I'll be very interested to see how much influence John Lynch actually has in making the picks.
Yeah, when they go behind the scenes, yeah.
Is he just the face man, or is he, does Kyle make all of them? I don't know. And he just has to say, yeah, all right, cool. I don't know. It's really hard for me to I want a new GM, but is that going to make a difference? Right. Because we don't know how much power John Lynch has.
Yep. It'd be interesting. They do like a 30 for 30 and they go in and like John, Kyle, and Jed are playing like air hockey in the locker room, not even paying attention to the drafts.
Yeah.
They just have an auto picker.
I wish they would. They would pick better. I wish it was on auto draft.
You guys, they have an auto picker on. That's what they do. They're not really paying attention to the draft. They only do the telephone calls, and then they go back to playing air hockey. Or
if they did, they would be picking way better, Aaron. They should put it on auto draft this year and see what happens.
Yetur Gross-Matos will probably get a 3-year deal from Lynch. Let's talk about some contracts real quick. Okay. So another thing that I heard, there's a lot of rumors going on right now, so take everything with a grain of salt. There was an article that said they could either re-sign these guys for a cheaper deal or they could outright release them. Bryce Huff and Demarcus Robinson. Bryce Huff did nothing after like the early part of the season. He was essentially a no-show. And people were like, well, he was playing. I don't care. Like, you're an edge rusher. Do something.
Yeah.
And then Demarcus Robinson really didn't show out until later in the season. Either of those guys move the needle for you at all, or do you care if they leave?
No, none of them do.
Yeah, I don't care either. I'm so like, I'm so indifferent to like most of our free agents other than Eddie Pinheiro.
Eddie Dinero. That's the only one I want.
It's the only guy we care about, guys. That's the only guy we care about. Coaching news, we got we hired a DB coach, Jerry Gray, longtime assistant defensive coach from the Atlanta Falcons. He was there with Raheem Morris, but we lost tight end coach Brian Fleury. He became the Seahawks OC. So there's that. Niners have had a little bit of turnover with coaches. They lost
quite a few.
They lost
Kubiaks.
They lost Bullocks as well defense. Too. Yep. So man, you know what though? I'm always at the mindset of like what was here wasn't working. So anytime someone else can bring new eyes and ideas into the building, I'm always for it. Like I have no connection or any type of like whatever, like emotional connection with anything with any players, unless they're like big time guys like Kittle. Yes. Niner for life. Trent Williams going to retire 49er for sure. Chris McCaffrey. Yes. I have a lot of attachment to him. And you got a guy like you said, we were talking about Jauan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, like whatever. Like I like Jauan, but not at the price he's going to want to get paid.
Yeah.
So, this one will get in your crawl, especially with all the injuries. So the Niners are reported going to play down under in Australia next year against the Rams. Considering all the injury problems we have, Mike, how enthusiastic are you about the Niners playing in Australia?
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to have them fly across country. And I saw something that said the rumor is it's going to be played on Sunday on opening night, like not even a Thursday game to give them how are they going to do this and how is that fair whatsoever? You can almost pretty much make week 2 a guaranteed loss, no matter who they play. So they better win that game because they're coming back and they're probably going to lose immediately to whoever they play on the next week. But I mean, I don't know, what can you say? It's comical at this point. We're always one of the most, highly traveled teams in the league. Yep. Almost every year. I think it's geographical location, West Coast, but it would have been really nice to play the Rams at home in LA. I wish it would have been a different team, maybe an East Coast team or even anyone but the Rams, because we would have had the opportunity to play in LA twice
We're
this year.
do it going into a bye week.
Yeah.
Play going into a bye week. You go to Australia, you travel to Australia, you play the game, and then you go home.
But do you do it into the bye week, or do you do it coming out of the bye week?
Into the bye week. Because
look
at, they've been the most injured team or one of the top injured teams over a decade.
Yeah.
What says injuries like tons of travel and little rest?
Yeah.
One of the reasons the 49ers, I'm not saying this is the ultimate reason, because I think there's underlying reasons with their strength staff and just the way that they approach things. The Niners are always one of the most traveled teams, and they always have the least amount of rest all the time. They're always in a rest disadvantage.
Yep.
If you're going to make a move like that, and then you're going to also have them on Thursday night. I hate Thursday night football. Thursday night football to me is cool when you're bored midweek and you're like, oh, we got a football game on Thursday. But as soon as the game ends and you lose like 4 starters to injury, you're like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, they're just
the league is money hungry, brother. That's all they care about is money, like the Joker said.
I just don't understand how they're gonna do this to where it's like make it somewhat fair. It's gonna be a huge disadvantage for the 49ers. And then if they have to play in Mexico, which, what if they play the Cardinals? That could have been an easy short trip that turns longer as well, right? They're going to take away both of their West Coast games and make them travel far distances when that was the only break they probably had.
The Niners, are so in need of, a season where they don't – I mean, they're going to travel regardless. I just think the league is so focused on making more money. They want to get rid of another preseason game and add a regular season game. If you're going to do that, you need to have 2 bye weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You have to have 2 bye weeks. You cannot play that many weeks. And I'm as critical as anybody on injuries, but these players, man, the game's faster. It's harder than ever.
Yeah.
Give these guys.
Can't do that and have them fly to Europe and Australia and Antarctica and the moon, and you have to give these guys time.
The Niners will be playing up on a space station soon. They'll have a football field up on the moon.
It's crazy.
And they'll go there twice a year on a short week.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's how it is with this. Oh my God. We're a bunch of curmudgeon Niner fans, but it's ridiculous.
And it annoys me too, even a little bit more, because usually the Rams game, that's the game I always usually go to. I've gone to every single Rams game in LA so far. So for me to miss that one kind of bugs me a little bit. But, good thing we are playing the Chargers, so I get to go see that one. But still, I could have went to 2 games right by my house, and now I only get to go to 1. So whatever.
U.S. Army, he says, as always, y'all, God bless, Godspeed your audience to Niners all the way in L.A. or La when next February.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
I really, really hope the 49ers they're going to get a game like that with the Rams, let it go into a bye week.
Yeah.
I really am so sick of it. What's as we get out of here, what do you how excited are you to get into looking in? I really haven't been draft heavy the last couple of years, but as far as the combine and draft, are you going to be doing any type of deep dive and looking at some players? Are you excited to do that in free agency, or are you?
I usually don't do any deep dives into the draft, for the specific reason of I tend to start getting draft crushes, and I get pissed off when we don't get them.
Me too.
So I like to look at the players post draft and say okay, this is what we got, and I'm like, yeah, they reached for sure. This was a massive reach. So yeah, probably no deep draft stuff. I'll probably do some stuff where I'm sure we can jump on and talk about maybe some guys that we like, some positions that we need, some stuff like that. But I usually go more in depth once we draft the guys.
It's me. I had a hard time the last couple of years, especially last year when I was doing stuff with Sterling and Dre. there's so much to pay attention to in the draft.
Yeah, it's a
And the fact
lot.
that there's people out there like a Sterling or like a Larry Krueger who have so much knowledge.
Yep.
I'm like, how do you, and I mean this, like, how do you do that? Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
love
crazy.
49er football and everything, but like, I don't even know how to like compartmentalize that many players and like keep track of who they are, where they play. But I guess
Yep.
if that's
It's
what you do
hard.
for a living, I mean, Sterling went to school for it. And I know Larry, you know, he's been in radio a long time and he was a scout. I guess if you
Yeah.
just have the mind for it, you're able to take in a ton of information. So like last year, I just acquiesced to Sterling. I'm like, and Sterling, what do you have to say? Like, I had nothing.
Yeah.
I had nothing to add. People are like, Aaron, what do you think about this player? I'm like, I don't know. So
Yeah. I
free
just stay off
agency,
of it.
I'm all in.
Oh yeah, free agency. Yeah, that's gonna be the big one. But then
Yep.
I
So we
always
got
get crushes on that too. And then
yes. When you
like
start
Daniel
seeing guys
Hunter
come
was
off the board,
my main crush 2 years ago. I was like, please get Daniel Hunter. He's so good. He's so good. Him or Brian Burns, please.
make one big move and we'll be happy 49er fans or
Yeah.
49er organization. Make a move
Yep.
that shows that you care. But
Exactly.
everybody who's been in the stream today, thank you for dropping in here and commenting. I'm sorry I didn't get to all your comments. I have to get glasses. I am blind as a bat. Me and Mike appreciate you guys, especially with the off season being here. Off season is kind of dead time for content unless you're like a big name like Larry and stuff.
Yeah.
So everybody, appreciate you coming through. I'll be back Friday, hopefully, with the Cover 3 podcast. And in the coming months, you'll probably see a change in the name to our show to 49ers Unfiltered, maybe a new intro and overlay and stuff. So we got a lot of time until the season starts. But yeah, that'll be the two big things that really are going on. I'm waiting for, I can't wait for free agency with you. If they do make some moves, you can get on here and either poo-poo what they're doing or be like, oh my God, they actually did it. So
Yeah.
everybody take care of yourself. Mike, nice as always having you on, man.
Yes, sir.
Until next time, everybody stay safe and healthy and go Niners. Peace.
Have a good one.